Okay, so it's recording. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And so do you see the slide deck here on your screen can you see my screen? Yeah, okay, thank you. Sometimes you may see that I'm not looking at the camera all the time. I've got two monitors here. So one monitor does have the participants in today's workshop, and then my other monitor has the slide deck. So to get started, all I have to do is come over here in the chat and copy the bit.ly link into a URL, or it's the URL, copy it into the Omnibox. So if I go to, let me just go to this account here. So right here, Google calls this the Omnibox, and I can just paste the bit.ly link here into the Omnibox. What the bit.ly link is, this address, it's called the Uniform Resource Locator. In case if you ever hear people call it the URL, it's called, the URL stands for the Uniform Resource Locator. It's just the web address for that document, in this case for this slide deck. Also, you'll be hearing me call this the slide deck. It's very similar to Microsoft PowerPoint. It's just Google Slides, and with multiple slides, it's just been called a slide deck. So again, you have this here on your screen. What can you do with this then? If you want to add this to your drive so you can access this later, you sure can. All you have to do is come up here to this triangle with the plus sign, and it says add shortcut to drive. So just click on that, and I can add this to my Google Drive. If you're seeing my screen right now and you're saying, hey, I can't do this right now, you can. What you can do is right here at the middle of your screen, it shows where you can decrease my screen that I'm sharing with you to 50%, 75%. So you could have two screens side by side on your monitor. And so that if you need to click on some links, you can do so. Because while I'm sharing my screen, you can't click on the links from my screen. But if you've got, two windows side by side open, you can do that. So if you do that, if not, you can go back and rewatch this video to how to add this shortcut to your drive. But all you have to do is come up here to the triangle and the plus sign, and that will add it to your drive. If I want to just put it in my drive right from here, I can. If not, if I double click on my drive, and if I know that I want to put it in a folder that I already have, a Google Workshop folder, I can do that. If I know I want to put it in a folder that I don't have created, I can create it from here. All I have to do is come down here to the folder symbol with the plus sign, click on it, name my new folder, put the check mark, click on the check mark here, and I can add the shortcut here. If you don't use your Google Drive much, you could also save this Google slide deck to your bookmarks. So I'm in Google Chrome, the Google Chrome web browser, and to save it to the bookmarks, all I have to do is come up here, click on the star. When I click on the star, it turns blue. It's saying, hey, this bookmark has been added. Do I want it in my bookmark bar? Or again, I can organize my bookmarks by folders. I can choose another folder here. I can create a new folder. But if I just add it to my bookmark bar and hit done, you're going to see right here, it says the Google Meet, and then it doesn't show the whole title, but it shows most of it. If I hover over it, it'll show me the whole title of that. So if you don't see your bookmark bar there, if you come to the right of your Chrome profile, there are 3 dots. If I click on those 3 dots, I can go down here to bookmarks and I can show bookmark bar. If at any time I don't want my bookmark bar shown, I can just click on that. It takes the bookmark bar away. So the 3 dots, go to bookmarks and show bookmark bar. If I want to look at all of my other bookmarks I have in there, I go to bookmarks and I go to bookmark manager, and I can see that. But for things that I might be using a lot, I can just put there easily access on the bookmark bar. So hopefully that helps. And I do appreciate people stepping up and helping out in the chat as well. And I see that people have done that already, and I appreciate that. Patty's not with us today from the ROE, so usually when she's here with us, she helps out in the chat. So if you've been with us before and Patty's been in the chat room, we don't have her today. So we miss you, Patty. So I'm going to go then go back to this account here with my slide deck in it. So on slide 2 here, I've got a sign-in sheet. So again, if you can't do the split screen and do the sign-in sheet now, you can do it after the workshop, that's fine. But to get your professional development hours, just make sure you sign in here. And what the sign-in sheet is, it's just a Google form here that you sign in. This is just our way of, it's like the sign-in sheet if we were meeting in person, you would sign in when you came into the workshop. But since we're online here, meeting virtually, just sign in using this Google form, and I will make sure then Patty gets this, and she will be the one issuing your professional development hours. And again, you can sign in after the workshop here this morning. So step 2 here, I did explain how to add this slide deck to your drive and to your bookmarks. Again, if I went too fast, know that this recording will be uploaded to the YouTube channel that you can access later to go back and see the steps in doing that. And I have a link here to the YouTube channel here on step 5. Feel free, if you want to put in chat your name, what district or title you hold in your district, or anything you would like to add in chat so other people can see who's in this workshop today. And then also, like I said earlier, you'll, at the end of the workshop, excuse me, I have an evaluation for you to fill out, and then Patty will be issuing the PD hours that then you can add to your Ellis account after today. Again, allow up to 24 to 48 hours to get your PD hours. But if you have questions about that, you can feel free, you can email me. So a couple things here then, I'll go back to slide 1. So this is a workshop on Google Meet, and this was a classroom I created using Google Slides, and I hyperlink things. So if you haven't heard of the Learning Technology Center before, you can click on this link to go and learn about it. You can click on this link to learn about other workshops that we offer throughout Illinois. Again, here's another link to my YouTube channel where you'll find the recordings. And then here's a link to the LTC community. So there's so much more out there to be able to connect with other educators throughout the state of Illinois. So a little bit about me. My name is Lisa Schwartz, and this is my 21st year in education. The first 19 years I did spend in the classroom teaching 6th through 9th graders. I did teach various subjects. A few years I did self-contained 6th grade class. And then after that, taught math, geography, computers, computer science. A majority of my time I did spend in teaching computers and computer science to students. And it was the Microsoft platform. The last few years of when I was in the classroom, we did implement Google alongside Microsoft. So we got to compare and see what the pros and cons of each software of what we liked. Currently, I am working for the Learning Technology Center here in Illinois as a regional ed tech coordinator. And if you see here on slide 3, in this green area, that is the area I cover. I work with 10 ROEs in the school districts and within those ROEs, just helping with professional development around technology in the classroom. If you would like to get a hold of me, here's my email, here's my Twitter handle, and then again, here's the LTC Illinois website. I got to experience the remote learning with my 2 boys this past few months. So got to see the challenges from the student side as well, and not just the teacher side. And so hopefully with Google Meet, what we're going to go over today will help you with learning in the future, whether since we don't know for sure what it might look like here in the fall. If you go to slide 4 and 5, again, that just talks about the Learning Technology Center. We're not a business out there making a profit or money. We're not into sales. So just wanted to let you know that up front here. So again, I appreciate the people putting the information there in the chat of who you are, if you wanted to introduce yourself and what you teach. I appreciate that. I did go ahead and put the bit.ly link in there again for anyone who has joined us since we've started. All right, so the Google Meet app, that's what we're going to focus on today. And just wanted to go over a few features of it. I will let you know, I am not going to go maybe slide by slide in this presentation. I am going to jump into the Google Meet and show you some features of that. So hopefully you can get some of your questions answered that you may have. But right now with Google Meet, you do have an unlimited number of meetings, and usually we can only have up to 100 participants, but right now they are allowing 250 participants. Google does have an enterprise account where it does cost to have that enterprise account. Most of us always just use the G Suite for Education account that's free. So as of September 30th of this year, they said they're going to take away the 250 participants, but most of the time when we're meeting with our students, we're not meeting with all of our classes. If we teach, multiple classes at the middle school or high school, we're, mainly just meeting with one class at a time, hopefully less than 35 students in a class. You also do have closed captioning. Google Meets is compatible across devices, so if they don't have a Chromebook and they are joining by a different device, it does work on all devices. You can mute or remove participants from a Google Meet. Just like here with Zoom, you can share your screen. And then there are a chat room available as well. And in that chat room, besides, people asking questions, you can share files and links, just like I did today in the Zoom that I shared the link to this this slide deck that you have. Again, you can also record meetings. So just since everyone learns so differently, or just like we can't remember everything that the teacher might say, they can go back. If you do record it, they can go back and take a look at it to relearn what you covered. So to go to Google Meets, if you look at, I come up here and just go to a new tab. Again, I am in the Google Chrome web browser. Anytime you use any of the Google apps, it is best to be in the Google Chrome web browser because all of the features will work. For example, I had a teacher reach out to me and said in Google Docs, the voice typing wasn't working. The number one thing I had her check, or I have everyone check first, is to check what web browser she was in. And she goes, oh, she was working on Google Docs in the Safari web browser. Well, we found out in the Safari web browser, the voice typing feature does not work. So again, anytime that you want to work with any of these apps from the G Suite for Education, the best bet would be to be in the Google Chrome web browser. And if you're using a Chromebook, that that's the default. That's what students would open anyway. So I can come over here to the waffle and then go to my Google Meet app. I will tell you, I rarely go to my Google Meet app going to the waffle, but you do have that option. And right here, I can join or start a meeting right from here. If I know that I want to schedule a meeting later, then I can go to my calendar and schedule my meeting from my calendar. So I'm going to close out of this for right now. And if you look over here on the slide deck, I did take some screenshots of what it should look like. I am going to walk you through this as well to show you how to set this up. But again, since so many people learn differently, do you have to stay with me during this presentation? You don't. That's why I do share the slide deck with you, that if you've used Google Meets before and you just want to see maybe some of the new things out there, feel free, click on, the slide deck, work ahead, see what's out there. Again, you will have the recording available to you to go back later for anything you might have missed. Would I say this if we were meeting face-to-face? I sure would. I know it's easier right now to, you can easily mute me or, not pay attention, but it's the same aspect if we were meeting face-to-face, that people all learn differently. So if we realize that and give some different modes of ways for students or other teachers to learn, it's a win-win for everybody. So it's not hurting my feelings if you are looking ahead and maybe zoning me out at times. Here on slide 7, before I get into the Google Meet calendar slide, I do want to show you here some other resources. I usually put this at the end of the slide deck, but I put it right here again for people who may have been using Google Meet the past couple months and you want to see some updates or learn about some other things. Click on these links and you can find out more about Google Meet. And feel free, if someone feels comfortable, if someone's putting any questions in chat, if someone feels comfortable to say, hey, Lisa, a lot of people are asking this question, feel free to interrupt me. So on the Google Meet calendar, so if I know that I'm going to schedule a meeting with students or with other teachers, I usually go to calendar to do that. So all I have to do, again, go to a new tab up here, hitting the plus sign, and I can go to my calendar over here with the waffle. I usually go to my calendar several times a day. So what I do, I just have it pinned over here. So I can just go up there and open up my calendar from here. So why do I pin a tab? The reason I might pin a tab is because it's something I use all the time and I don't want to accidentally close it. So to pin a tab, all I have to do is right click on a tab and I can pin it. So do you see when I pin this tab, this is my classroom, it gives me the icon of my classroom and it doesn't have the X, so I can't accidentally close it. If I don't want it pinned anymore, if I right click it and I unpin it, I have it there and I can close it with the X. But again, even though it's pinned, can I still close it? Yeah, I can right click on it and hit close and it will close. Do you see I have some of these other options? I don't know about you, but sometimes if you're looking at some resources or whatever, you might have several tabs open up there. You can close all of the tabs up there, or close the tabs to the right of this tab that you're on. So that's pinning the tab. So then what I do is once I'm in my calendar, right now I'm in my work calendar. If I want to go up here and create a new event, all I have to do is hit create. If you don't see this create there, if you click on these 3 lines right there, that just expands the main menu. If you don't like that expanded, you can just close it. And here's the create button. It just doesn't have the word create, it's just the plus sign. Again, the more you're using these apps, the more you'll recognize the different icons that they have for you to use. Normally, I just keep that open. That's just what I've gotten used to. And then I can just hit create here. And if I know I'm going to be meeting with, meeting with the class later or meeting with other teachers, I'll put meeting, and if it's a particular teacher, I can put, I usually put, if it's Patty I'm meeting with, I'll put Patty, Lisa meeting. And then right here where it says add video conferencing, I can click on that and go to add up to 250 participants. So I can click on if I want to Google Meet. I do have my Zoom in here as well. You might not see that on yours if you don't have the Zoom add-on, but with the Google Meet, since it's a Google apps and I'm using my Google Calendar, they sync together. So I could, if I can do it from here, or if I go here to more options, I can add video conferencing from here. So I want to add a Google Meet. What that does is it creates a link here. And then over here, I can add guest. So if I wanted to add Patty's email address, I just click there. It shows me, I can't see her calendar. She's outside my organization. But this will send her a link. Then I can hit save. And then it says, would you like to send invitation emails to Google Calendar guest? And if I hit send, then she'll get it, and then she can say yes, she can join, or no, she cannot. I'm going to dismiss this for right now because I don't want to send this to her. And then as you can see over here, if it's a meeting that I want to have with her every week, I can set it up daily, weekly. I have all of these options over here. I can even do a custom repeat here as well. Again, right here, I just change the time to when I want to meet, and I can change the date. Even though I'm clicked on June 4th, I can still change it. Oh, let's say I want it June 5th, it'll change to June 5th for me. Again, I can add notification 10 minutes before, 5 minutes before, or however long. I just come down here with the notifications. And then if I want to add any files in here, I can, or any notes, I can as well. And then again, do I want to allow her to modify the event? I can. If I don't want her to modify the event, do I want her to be allowed to invite others to the event or see the guest list? Again, you have choices for each event that you set up. You can turn those off and on. So again, you can create a Google Meet time in Google Calendar, and that will send the link for the Google Meet to the participants that you've added. So that's Google Calendar. Let me just get out of that here. And again, all I had to do was go to any day. And even if I went to, June 6th and I decided it to be a different day, I can change that. I can add video conferencing here, or I can go to more options and add it there. I've just gotten used to the full screen here going to more options, but either way is the same. Another option to add a Google Meet is you can start a meeting right from your Gmail. Again, if I know that I'm not working with someone right now, I won't set it up from Gmail, but this is yet another option. So if I know that I want to start a meeting with you right now or join a meeting from here, I can. I just click on join a meeting and I put in the code. Usually I copy and paste it, but again, I can usually click on that link within the email or within the calendar invite, so I don't even have to go here. And right here, when I clicked on this start a meeting, it starts a meeting right now for me in my Google Chrome web browser, and it creates the meeting right here on a new tab. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that here. This was new, I want to say, here in the month of April or May. I've never started a meeting from here. My two main ways of starting a meeting is usually from calendar and or classroom. And I will show you classroom here in just a minute. So on slide 10 here with the Google Meet Classroom, oh, and I'm looking at chat. Great question. Is that Susanna who asked? So great lead in here. The Google Meet Classroom. This is what I'm going to show you how to meet with your students if you have students. This is the best way by far. Google changed this. This just came out here, I want to say end of March, April, so that students weren't joining the Meet beforehand. Because what was happening, even with my own kids here at home, that teachers weren't sending the link to the Google Meet until 10 minutes before they wanted the kids to be in it. You don't have to worry about that anymore. The kids will have this Google Meet link the whole time, but they can't join in the meeting, in the Google Meet video conferencing, unless the teacher is in there. So what you will need to do in your classroom. So again, how do you go to your classroom? To go to your Google Classroom, if you're new to the G Suite for Education apps, you can go to the waffle and go to your classroom here. You can come up here to the new tab and you can type in classroom.google.com as well. But then once you get into your classroom, I've got my Google Meet code right here that the students can get into. If you don't see that, on the teacher side, this is what you'll need to do. Go to the gear. Again, if you're new with Classroom, I know tomorrow we're having an Introduction to Google Classroom workshop. If not, if you can't join, I do have the recordings on my YouTube channel that you can always look at. I know people like to reference those, but I know it's nice to have those PDH hours, and with recordings, we can't give you the professional development hours unless if you attend a live event. So if you need those PD hours, go and check out to see if there's the Introduction to Google Classroom, if that is still available to join tomorrow. If you don't have that link, I can get that to you at the end of the workshop. So right here at the gear, if I go down here to general, and this is what the screenshot is, I think on slide 10 of the slide deck. My classroom now supports Meet. Do I want this link visible to students? Heck yes. I don't have to keep turning it on and off. I'll keep it there all the time. So if the students don't see that, come over here, click on that to turn that on so the students can see that. Again, you don't have to worry about students joining when you're not in the Google Meet, because they can't. And I'll show you that here in a second of how they can't join from the student side of it. So then they will see this Meet link all the time. The Meet link here in Google Classroom is two places. It's here on the stream, right here, and then it's also on the classwork page, and it's the Google Meet. It just shows the Meet. It doesn't show the link like it does on the stream. So it's the same link. It's just two different places and two different views. So let me show you right now. I'm going to switch over to the student view here. Right now, Google doesn't allow you to have a student view in Google Classroom. I know that's been a big ask of a lot of teachers, and so hopefully we'll see Google adding that here in the near future. If not, how I get around with it is I did have the Learning Technology Center set me up an account, a student account here for my my classroom. So my youngest son's name is Blake, so I use Blake here as a student in my classroom. So let's say Blake knows it's 9:50, class meets at 10, and he wants to jump on to our Google Meet. So if he clicks on the Google Meet link and it's 9:50, he gets this error. So why is he getting this error? Is something not working on Google Meet? No, everything's working fine. But what he's getting this error because the teacher is not in the Google Meet. So that was a big ask of teachers here when we started remote learning, that kids were joining in the Google Meet before the teacher. Well, the kids have the link now, but you know, they have the link all the time now in Google Classroom if you so choose to put it there and you use Google Classroom, but they can't join in the Meet until the teacher is. So then they get this error. Sorry, we encountered a problem joining this video call, and they can just close out of it and then maybe not, you know, join until it gets closer to 10. What a lot of teachers do, and even what I do in workshops, is I do try to get on at least 10 minutes before the workshop. So then it does give, whether it's your students or other teachers, a chance to talk or say hi to other people that they know that are going to be there. Because before this link came out, what the teachers were doing is sometimes sharing it out in the classroom, but they weren't sharing it out until 10 minutes before the actual Google Meet was going to take place. So then that was added work for the teacher. So again, technology is supposed to help with your workflow and make your life easier. And this is one way that Google is making, hopefully, your life easier, that you don't have to go and create the Google Meet, send it out to your students right before you want them to join. So again, this is the student view. I went to it from right here, but the student could go to the classwork page here and go to the Meet. Same thing, he gets the same message because the teacher's not on. So you might have to tell the kids that in the beginning, that, you know, if they encounter any problems, it's because you haven't joined the meeting yet. So I'll go ahead and switch back to the teacher view. So here's a teacher view. I'll go ahead and go into the Google Meet. When I click on that, it opens up a new tab. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself just because I'm using the same device with both of the accounts here, so we don't get feedback. And then I can hit join now. Right now, one of the extensions is a virtual background. I'll explain that. You can change the virtual background as well, but as you can see, I think it's, you know, it's not the best picture quality. I don't know if that's because I'm running Zoom and Google Meets right now at the same time. But if I hit join now, and again, I could add people from here, but again, that's a little bit more work. So if the kids know to click on the link in the Google Classroom, all I had to do was click on the link. It's, you know, let's say it's 10 o'clock, that's when we meet, and let's say it's 9:50, the kids know then to join, that they could join 10 minutes before. So here's the teacher. Let me switch over to the student view here. So again, the student can join either from the stream or the classwork page. When they click on that link, do you remember before Blake was getting that error that he couldn't join because the teacher wasn't on the call? It shows him who's already on the call. Again, I'm going to mute myself right now here, and then so Blake can join now. He can also present his screen as well. So I'll turn on Blake's camera too. It's letting me know my mic is off. I don't know if I turn it on, if I'll get a lot of feedback here. We'll try. Yeah, I'm getting too much feedback. So when I have my mic on, do you see right here, it also, there are shortcut keys right above where it says turn on microphone, I guess to the right of it, it says Command plus D. I can hit those shortcut keys to turn the microphone on and off. If you're on a Chromebook, it's Control plus D. So anytime you see this little icon that's on a Mac, it's Command, but on a Chromebook or a laptop, it's the Control key. So there are shortcut keys out there, just like in any of the apps with Google, that you have that you can do as well. So again, turn on captions. So everything, I can turn this on so everything that I say will show up here. It's not showing up right now because I have turned off the microphone so you don't hear the feedback from the Zoom workshop and from the Google Meets here. But you would see that here at the bottom of your screen. And I've also included on slide some different extensions. I forget which slide number it is, but I'll refer back to it here in a moment. But there's some extensions out there. But I just want to show you then, so this is the student view. The student can present now. They can present their entire screen or just their window or just one of their Chrome tabs that they have open up here. If they don't want all of their entire screen to be shown, they can just show one of their tabs up here. And then also there's 3 dots here that they can also change the layouts, make it full screen. Here again, you can turn off captions here, even though you can turn it off here. So again, if you're new to the different Google apps out there, there's usually multiple ways to do the same thing. So here's one example with the closed captions. You can turn it off and on here, or just come over here to the 3 dots to do that. So another thing, anytime you see 3 dots, that means there's more options. Click on that to see what else there is out there. So right up here, the students can chat. Again, everyone can see what they're chatting about. Send a message to everyone here. So Blake can say hello, just like with the chat in Zoom that people are using today. I know in Zoom you can send it to everyone or certain people, but right here in chat, it's send a message to everyone. If Blake comes up here to the people, he can see who's in there. So here's Blake, and then here's the teacher. Now, when the student can click on this drop down arrow, but the student can't, they can't unmute someone else, and they can't remove participants. Only the teacher can, but they can pin a certain person to the screen if they would like. So let me switch back to the teacher side here. So here on the teacher side, you'll see me twice. Blake is signed in from my other computer here, and it's pulling that camera. If you let me kind of walk you through some of the things here on my the teacher side. Right up here, I've got another extension here called the grid view. I've got this tactic captioning extension as well. Let me switch back here to my slide deck to talk to you about these extensions here. Here on slide 12, so feel free to take a look at these. Here's some different extensions you can add. I know some school districts won't let you add these extensions, so maybe try this on your personal account. But you can see some different extensions here. If you click on these links, it'll take you to the Chrome Web Store, and you can learn about the extensions as well. But let me walk you through some of them here on our Google Meet. So your Google Meet might look different than mine because I've added some more extensions here to show you today. So if I come up here to the chat, here's, Blake saying hello. I can, respond back to him if I'd like. I can see all the people in the chat. Now, with Blake, if for some reason he's, there's so many people talking, I can mute Blake, but I can't unmute any participants. I can also hide a participant if I would like. I can also remove participants. Now, why is this remove participants important? Right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn off Blake's camera so you don't see. I thought that would do that. Okay, there we go. I'll just turn off that one. The reason to remove a participant is because let's say we're done with the meeting and it's 10 minutes after the class was supposed to end and kids are still talking. Well, if you leave, the kids will stay in the Google Meet. So again, for security reasons, before you leave, you'll want to remove everyone if people haven't removed themselves, if they haven't closed out of the Google Meet tab. So to remove that, all you have to do is click on this icon here for each student who's still in there and remove them. Because let me go ahead and leave myself as a teacher. I've left the meeting. And if I go back to the student view, do you see here the students who you didn't remove are still in the meeting? So again, for security reasons, you will want to remove everyone if they haven't left themselves. So let me just go back to the classroom, the Google Meet here. And with the extensions, seems like it goes slower here to load everything. It's saying Blake's already on the call. Well, how did the student get in there before I did? Again, the student never left when I left. So you've got to make sure that you remove them. How do you remove them? Come up here to the people and then come right here to remove. And then you remove them and then they won't be there. But as you saw just now, they are still there even if you leave. Some other extensions here. We've got this nod extension. What this is, so, if you've got a class of 30 students that you're meeting with, and it lets them, if they like a comment you said or another student, they can click on the thumbs up, thumbs down, want to give you applause. Here's some emojis. There's more emojis out there that you can use as well. If they have a question, if you click on this raising their hand, they raise their hand, it shows you down here who raised their hand, and then maybe you can tell them to unmute and ask their question, or have them ask their question in chat. Another extension we've got here is called, it's the Google Meet Party button. Just something fun thought I would show you. I've added this. What that does, when I come over here to hit the party button, watch what happens on the screen. Just some confetti throws up in the air there, and you've got yourself a little party there. So we're, learning ways how to communicate here when we're not in person. If you look back here on the slide deck, we've got the tactic pins. What this does, it captures closed captions from Meet into a text file. So if I go back here, right here it shows up the tactic captions will show up here, and then you can export the transcript later and have that available if, again, to differentiate if someone wants to see everything after the fact, what you talked about or what the discussion was, that extension will help there as well. I don't know why I've hid him, why he is still showing up from his account. Okay, there we go. It goes slow. Another thing here, if, I can present my screen just like I'm presenting my screen here in Zoom, just like with the students, you have the three choices here. If you want to present just a tab, a window, or your entire screen. Again, you've got these three dots here. Record the meeting. You can change the layout. Again, you have these choices of changing the layout. With the tiled view, I think it shows up to 16 people. If you do the extension, the grid view extension, then you have some more choices here that you can enable grid view by default and include yourself in the grid. So if you don't want to be included in the grid, you can turn that off. Highlight the speakers that are speaking. If there's a lot of people in your Google Meet, you can click on highlight the speakers so that they are highlighted when they're speaking. I went off the screen there because I did take myself off, include yourself in the grid. I think the reason why I'm just going so slow here because I've got Zoom running and I've got the Google Hangout or Google Meet running as well. You might see people calling it Google Hangouts Meet. That's what Google originally came out with calling it. Now I've seen them just calling it Google Meets, and you saw that I just caught myself saying Google Hangouts Meet. But again, within the past month or two, I've just seen Google calling it Google Meet. Also, I do have some advanced settings with this grid view, and I can have the bottom toolbar behavior. Again, click on these down arrows here, and you have some other options there as well. Now, a student can join by video from Google Meet, but they can also join by phone. And when they click on the link, if it's not within the Google Classroom, they have that option as well. So up here, you've got a toolbar here, and then if you add other extensions out there, you've got the toolbars right here. So if you don't, if you're not familiar with adding extensions, where extensions are, if you go to the Chrome Web Store. So I just went to a new tab. I have the Chrome Web Store bookmarked up here. It's just called chrome.google.com. And this is where there's different extensions out there. Some extensions cost. I think all of the extensions I have except for one are all free. How do you know about these extensions? Usually when I go in and look for one extension that I learned about, I might see some other extensions that I can use for Google Meet. So another extension out there is called Google Meet Attendance. If you see, there's 3 different ones out there. I kind of look at the stars, what's the average rating. I look at how many people have downloaded it. And as you can see, I've added 2 different extensions for the Google Meet attendance. So during this time of remote learning, I know some school districts wanted to keep track of what students were attending the Google Meets. Well, again, that's more paperwork on your end, especially if you have multiple students and multiple different classes. So there's a couple different people created this extension for Google Meet. I've tried both of them. I would suggest you to try, maybe try all of them here if you want to see what you like, what you like best. So this one down here, it automatically saves all the current attendees to a spreadsheet. So then you would have that then to send, to your administration or whatever kind of record keeping they would like for that. This one, it just records the attendance. So what I looked at was this one has 70,000 plus users. Here's an overview, review. So all of these extensions, you can learn more about it right here. Sometimes they have a video here. There's 5 pictures here that you can look at. It's also a video that explains this more if this is the one you like. But it's just, I guess, technology is supposed to hopefully not create more stress and anxiety for you, but help make your life easier in the long run. So again, one less step for you one less step for that you don't have to do with writing down or putting check marks by what students attended your Google Meet for that day. This will do that for you. Here's the check mark here. And if I go back to the Google Meet, then if you saw the green check mark there for the attendance, And right up here, it does show who's in the meeting. So right now, Blake's in there and Lisa's in there. And then with this extension, you can download the file so that you can have this as well. The other Google Meet attendance one, I think, then adds it to the spreadsheet. But here again, if you would like to look at this, you know, right here on at the Chrome Web Store, it walks you through what each of these buttons do. And again, it's automated. It's on the back end. You don't even have to do anything. It just creates the attendance and marks who's all there. It puts the class list here. The more I use this, I'll have, you know, my classes here. I'll have other options available here as well. So that was the Google Meet attendance. Another thing here is the dual list extension. That it just splits your browser window into two screens. If you don't have the luxury of having two screens and you just have your one monitor here, you can use this Chrome extension dual list to split your browser window into two screens. All you have to do is come up here to the extension, and then you can choose whichever one you want. It shows you the ratio of what the screens will look like, and you can do a split screen this way as well. Sometimes you can just drag and drop the windows as well and do it that way, but here's an extension that does it for you. Again, less work on your part, that you don't have to, you know, take the tab out and then, you know, split your screen that way. So as you can see, I took a tab out. I can move it back in as well. But I think with my computer being slow here, since I have the Google Meets open and the Zoom open, but any tab that I move out, then I can move back in. As you can see, I can move tabs around up there on my tab bar as well. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. I do want to have time to take some questions and go through that, but I do want to let you know here on slide 13, we've got the Google evaluation. If you can fill that out, I think that one's 3 questions. And if you want to unmute yourself, I've got some time for questions. If you want to put questions in the chat, you can. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this Google Meet right now, but I can always get back in. As you can see, there's a lot to learn. The more you experience this and try this out with other teachers or with your students, the better you'll get at it. So don't feel like you need to know everything in the beginning, especially with some of these Chrome extensions. Try it out with other teachers, or sometimes what I would used to do is tell the students, hey, I'm learning about this app. Can you guys learn with me, and can, you know, fail forward and learn together? And that was such a neat learning experience, because then the kids got to see how the teacher learned, like, oh, I know something Mrs. Schwartz doesn't know. And so I think that's a positive. And as you can see, I don't know everything. So some of the questions you might ask me today, I might not know, but you can see my thought processes and maybe how I can go about trying to learn what you're asking. So a few questions here in chat, and feel free if you want to unmute yourself too, you can. But so yeah, Susanna said, yeah, good to know about removing students prior to leaving the Google Meet, because I think I left the Google Meet, but look at, I didn't remove Blake, so he's still in there, or any other students. But so yeah, remove the students here. And another thing with this Google Meet, if you want the students to have the nod extension, it has to be added to their accounts too. Usually your Google domain admin on the back end can push that out to the students if they want the students to have that. Can students create their own meeting? So I'll just show you here. I'm on the student account. Let me go to Blake's calendar. And here on Blake's calendar, let me go to more options, add video conferencing. And his account doesn't have the ability from the calendar to open up to schedule a Google Meet. Let me go back to the waffle here and go to Google Meet. And here it says use a meeting code, enter the meeting code. Here it says learn how to schedule a meeting. Again, on the back end, the Google admin can turn that on and off if they want students, but I don't think, good question, I don't think, like on this one, Blake can't schedule a video meeting. Does anybody know for sure? Does that have to be turned on from the Google admin on the back end? If not, we can look that up for sure. But right now, I know with Blake, he doesn't have that option. Okay, another question here. Kristen asks, is this HIPAA or FERPA compliant, and how do I find that information? I will double check with that. It's usually with what I have found with the Google apps that they do comply, but I don't know where that information would be found. So Kristen, I will look that up for sure. I know I did have a link under resources about the security. I don't know if it would say in there. So we can take a look at that as well. So this was on the link here on slide 7. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here, or so I'll jump to Molly real quick. Molly, that is correct. It's the extension called NOD. And again, in the slide deck, I do have links for all of the extensions there that if you want to go find out about them, feel free to go to slide 12 and click on those links, and it'll take you to the Chrome Web Store where you can find out about all of the different extensions. Again, extensions are being added all the time. It's, people find like they want the app to do something specific, so they go and create the extension, or go and find out to see if someone else has created that extension. Okay, so Susanna asked, why can't you unmute a student? Yeah, great question. They did, I think that explains it in the one of those links that I have under resources, the reason behind of why they don't want you to unmute a student. So I don't know Google's reasoning behind that for sure. I don't know if that was under one of the updates that they don't allow it. If anybody's looked at those updates and remember what it says. But that's what's great about technology, is you don't have to remember everything anymore. You can go and look it up. And Susanna asked a great question. And I remember reading about it, but I didn't commit it to my memory of why Google decided to not allow teachers to unmute a student. Jeannie says it's probably a privacy issue, and Jeannie, you're probably right. But I thought I read it, Google's reasoning behind that somewhere in one of these documents here. So I need to follow up here with Kristen about where we can find HIPAA and FERPA compliant. And if anybody's familiar with the SOPA law, the Student Online Privacy Protection Act, as of next July 2021, all of these tech companies will have to be compliant before schools can use them. And so I always usually, let our tech department let me know as a teacher what app I could or could not use, because sometimes some of these apps are collecting data. Well, not sometimes, all of the time, they collect data. And with using these apps with students, that, we have to be very careful on what data they are collecting. So all of the tech companies are going to have to abide by the SOPA law, and that goes into effect July of 2021. So I do know that, and it's just strict guidelines of what data they can collect on students. So there's the Learn platform. They are going to, look at all of the privacy policies and the data that all of these tech companies are collecting as well. So that's, I know we could use the Learn platform to do that, but as of right now, I will check on that for Kristen. Okay, and Tricia just put a link in there in chat about the Google Meet, about the answer for muting. Tricia, if you've read that, do you want to just sum that up for us real quick? If you feel comfortable unmuting yourself.
It was just the same thing Jeannie said. It was a privacy issue. That's all it really said. When it said it was just a privacy issue, you can't unmute them.
Okay. Thank you so much.
While I'm unmuted, Lisa, do you know if when you're doing the screen share or the present, can you still see all the students' videos? I know on Zoom, it just goes to like the speakers, unless you have two screens, but with like your dual list, can you still see the students' faces or their screenshot?
You sure can. You just have to, make sure you put that as one of your windows. Yeah. Great question. Yeah, you're welcome. So again, with this, this recording will be uploaded to my YouTube channel, hopefully by this afternoon, so you can access that. And hopefully you save this slide deck to your Google Drive or to bookmarked it. If not, if you don't know how to do that, you can go back and look at the video later, or you can stay on and I can walk you through it real quick here at the end. I know in the beginning I told you I would talk about something else here at the end. I didn't make a note of that. If that was a question someone had and you want to refresh my memory, please let me know. But I appreciate you taking the time and joining us today. And I know that I'm over the time, but if there's questions, if you have more questions, feel free to stay on. I hope this has met your needs and what you wanted to learn about Google Meets. And again, just appreciate your time and reach out if you need anything. I just sent the link again. Someone asked for that. And again, feel free. If you want to stay on, if there's other questions you have or want me to walk you through anything.
Lisa?
Yeah.
This is Susanna. I had a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts as to why Google Meets would be more beneficial to use as opposed to Zoom?
Um, it's just what you get, most comfortable with. Great question. I know some school districts only want their teachers to use Google Meet. They want to use the G Suite apps for education, and they don't want all of these other different apps out there. I think it's
Okay.
just depends on the policies of your school district, but I don't. I'm more used to Zoom, so I like using Zoom more than I do Google Meets. But I've been using Google Meets with other people just to get more familiar with it, and I'm liking it just as much. So, and you can record with that too. So I think it's personal preference and or what your district allows you to do.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great question, and thank you for all your questions.
Lisa, the Meet grid view, I know I can go onto the Chrome, but your link, I think, is broken.
Oh,
I think it goes to an error page. I know I can go to my apps and search it, but I just want to let you know.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll remove that one, and then I will put the new link in there. Yeah, that's one thing.
Do you know if when you record it, does it save to your Google Drive or does it save?
Yeah, it saves it to your Google Drive. It sets it up, on the back end, seamless. So less work for you to have to do.
Okay.
Yeah, great question.
And then you can just share that link in your Google Classroom so kids can see the recording later?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if not, if you do start getting a lot of recordings, maybe that's a time for you to start setting up YouTube, and just so that they don't have to search in Classroom for all of the recordings, they know to go to your YouTube channel to find the recordings as well.
Another question for you, Lisa. Is this easy to use from like a phone? Like if the kids don't have a tablet or a Chromebook, is it as simple to use for students like on their parents' iPhones, or like do they have to have the app installed?
They just have to have the Google account, and no, they just click on the link. Whoops. I was trying to get this new link in there too. So they can just click on the link from, if they have Google Classroom on their phone, they can just click on that link and it'll let them join from there.
Okay. Because I know a lot of my kindergartners, they just use their parents' phones when they join on Zoom. So just having the Zoom app helped, but I didn't know if they had to have special apps or anything.
No, I joined from the phone the other day, and yeah, I didn't have anything special. I didn't have the app downloaded. I just joined from the Google Classroom link. Yeah, great question. So how's it, Tricia, how's it going with the kindergartners with the remote learning the past couple months, if you don't mind me asking, or anybody else too?
About as well as you expect 5-year-olds to be on a Zoom or any type of online at home. So it's been going well. I mean, we had a lot of Zoom calls because our kids don't have their G Suite accounts activated in kindergarten yet.
Yeah.
So we used Zoom because parents could use their email or could just click on the link without really having to have much set up. The Google Meets was a little trickier for kids in our grade level, but I know next year we're moving to preschool through 12th grade being all Google, because second through 12th grade is all Google this year, but we didn't have devices for kindergartners and first graders. There's a lot of our first grade teachers on here, I see, but we didn't have anything for them. So we used Zoom, or we had to use our personal Gmail to set up the Google calls, Google Meet calls.
And did you have to walk your parents through a lot of things? to get their stuff on? Or?
Yes. Yeah, a lot of it was a lot of like I had to do a lot of Screencastify videos on how to set it up, how to log in, how to click on the link, and then just getting them access to it, whether it was email or I used Class Dojo to give them the link. But a lot of other teachers had problems when they had to get the link out and they couldn't send all of the emails at once. So they had to put each individual parent's email in to send the link, and it was tricky. But I had it easier with Class Dojo. It was a simple post on there and they could get on easily.
Okay.
Are you doing the Google Classroom tomorrow?
I am.
All right.
I think I'm doing one. Yeah. I think that's, you sign yeah, at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I'm signed up because moving towards it next year, I don't know a lot about it. I've used it in second grade when I taught before, but it was very minimal because it wasn't required and it wasn't really needed at the time. But now with kindergarten, I'm just don't have an idea of how I'm going to use it.
Okay. Well, great. Yeah. Hopefully it can give you some ideas and some resources out there as well. And that's what we've got to remember as teachers, that not to be so hard on ourselves for not knowing everything. And, who knows, the kids, well, with kindergartners, they, probably haven't used it before. So they're learning from you, but
I don't think a lot of parents have used it either.
Yeah,
We're going to have to have
Julie.
training for parents. And
You're
so, yeah, because even as a parent for my own kids, I have to figure out how to use things.
Yeah.
And so,
And
okay, and
Julie,
I'm a little slow to the game. You people from Lincoln know this. So
You and me both.
I'm going to go through this one more time, Lisa.
Okay.
They will each have their own account, right, girls? Okay, so then when we send an invitation out, then they can just link to it. Like Tricia said, I was the odd one that had to send one out to each parent, but we won't have to do that because they can just check in on it.
they
right?
can go to the Google Classroom like she had showed. The link will be there.
Okay, and so then it's their responsibility to learn how, you know what I'm saying? They